Hi everyone. So in this video, I'm going to show you the various stuff that I've done on the Kamado Tanjiro plastic model kit figurine. For example, the paint work that I've done, the panel lining, as well as the detailing with stickers. The things that I've done to make it look much better than it's straight out of the box build. Now let's start off with what I did to the hair. Now, it is a very subtle effect, but the reddish brown hair that Tanjiro has, I have complemented with some violet colored filter liquid from Mr. Weathering Color. This gives the hair a bit of tonal variation as well as allow the hair color to pop more. As for the face, I did some pastel dry brushing between the nose, on the sides of the nose rather, using the chestnut color. Whereas for his earrings, I had used a pen to draw out the lines that make up that rising sun image. As for the checkered pattern cloak that Tanjiro wears, I did absolutely nothing because I believe it looks good as is. But for his katana or sword, I did a bit of modification, as in the edge of the blade. As you can see, it's a little bit more shiny now. That's because I dry brush some gunmetal pastels onto the edges of the blade. Apart from that, I did some detail work on the hilt of the sword just by placing the stickers that were provided with the kit. So instead of painting it, I saw that the stickers were good enough, looked excellent, so I used the stickers. So now for the fingernails, I painted using a Vallejo model color, while the grooves in between the figures, I panel line using Mr. Weathering Color ground brown. Now the whites that you see on the collar and on the patch on his chest, stripes on his chest rather, were painted using Vallejo model color, while the character behind the back of his shirt was done using a sticker. Now, there's not much done to the arms apart to the brown clothing, which I did similar work for his trousers. What I did was to use Mr. Wearing Color product, specifically the stained brown color, and painted it on the highlight areas before blending the color into the trousers using a cotton bud or tissue paper. So now for his ankles and his sandals, the reds were painted using Vallejo model color, whereas the grooves were panel lined using Mr. Weathering Color. Similarly, the belt, the buckle, the shiny bits were painted using Citadel acrylic paint, while the grooves were panel lined using Mr. Weathering Color gray. Apart from that, I also worked on the sword. The hilt and the ends of the sword were painted using a metallic acrylic color, while the grooves that form part of the belt that wraps around the scabbard were panel lined using Mr. Weathering Color gray. Meanwhile, work done on Tanjiro's left hand was exactly the same as what I did for his right hand. So that then is the work that I did on this plastic model figurine. Now let's go ahead and assemble Kamado Tanjiro. Let's get started now. Now that you know a little bit of the work that I've done behind the scenes to make Tanjiro look a little bit better than a straight out of the box build, let's proceed to put this plastic model kit figurine together. We will begin our assembly process by putting the cloak onto Tanjiro's brown clothing. We will begin this process starting with the upper torso, or rather the upper half of his body. We'll attach first the main piece of the cloak, which connects to the back of his neck. So this is the main anchoring piece, if you will, that the other pieces will latch onto. Next up will be a shoulder piece that wraps around the left side of Tanjiro's body. Like so. Now, if you look at the part that forms the cloak closely, you would see the lettering E9 printed on the side. The same goes for the rest of the parts that make up the cloak. There are various letterings printed on the side which identify what part you are working with. For example, E1 to E9. So just let me remove the piece from his left shoulder, or rather the left side of his body, because I believe you are supposed to insert another piece first before placing that piece, or the rest of the parts will not fix on properly. This piece on the back of the cloak goes on first before that shoulder piece that I'm putting on now. So it's important to pay attention to the order in which the parts go on, or you would find that everything will not fit. So that's the left side of his shoulder done. Let's move on now to the right side. This one is a larger piece. I believe it's labeled E8. So that goes in like so. Just pressing it hard to ensure the two halves have connected properly. Next up will be another piece, the final piece for the back section of Tanjiro's checkered pattern cloak. I find that the way the seam lines are placed are very accurate, so that you don't have any mold lines running through the checkered pattern. Now for his right arm, first, before attaching onto Tanjiro's body, two halves of the cloak will have to enclose that right arm first. Starting with the outer half, which will connect to the arm via a square-like peg and hole. So with the outer half of the cloak now attached to his right arm, we will close it up with the other half of the cloak, which is more on the inner side of the cloak, the one that's facing Tanjiro's body. So let me do that now. That's the right arm with the cloak, and folding it, done. It will attach through the square hole and peg in the manner that I'm doing now. The click tells you that you have connected the piece securely and tightly. So with that done, we move on to Tanjiro's left arm. In a similar process in which two pieces of cloak will enfold or cover up his left arm, before that whole sub-assembly is then attached onto the side of Tanjiro's body. As always the case, assembling things at this weird angle in order to capture the process on camera makes assembly that little bit much harder than what I usually go through when I'm doing it off camera. So now just let me complete the left arm. Now whenever you find that pieces do not seem to be fitting correctly, try not to force the issue. Take a step back, have a look at it, and see whether you have aligned everything properly. Forcing things will likely cause the parts, especially at the connector points, to break. So like in this case, I believe I have not attached it or properly aligned it prior to connecting. So I'm going to use this part separator to remove both parts carefully so that I don't scratch the checkered pattern on the cloak, and realign things before completing the assembly process for the left arm and cloak piece. Let me just realign or just go through everything and see that I've gotten it correct. I'm going to do it the other way. The inner half goes in first before the outer half of the cloak, both halves, which will enclose the left arm completely. And as you can see now, the parts fit more snugly and more securely. The alignment this time is correct. So with that done, I'm going to place his left arm onto the body, like so. Make sure everything is secure before placing Tanjiro's head onto his body. Now he is looking off to the left because in a dynamic pose in which he's holding his sword, his stance is such that he's angled to the left. Now I'll just place the scabbard of the katana onto his belt to complete the assembly of the leg portion. It is attached to a sub-assembly that I have put together off camera. The legs and the foot or the ankle were all attached earlier off camera. So now let's place the two halves of the body together. Ensuring he's in a correct stance. It shouldn't be too hard because the shape of the connecting pieces are such that there's only one way that you can put these two pieces together. So that then is the both halves of his body attached. We'll move on now to his hands and the katana or sword that he will be holding in both hands. Before that is done, the hilt of the katana will be first placed onto his right hand via a pack and a hole. So now with that done, we'll use the other half of his right hand to cover up the hilt of the sword, with the end result looking like Tanjiro is gripping the hilt of the sword tightly. So that's the right hand. Now before I place the right hand onto his arm, we will first have to attach the one half of his left hand onto the left arm first. Only once that is done can we proceed to place his right hand, the hand that is holding the katana, just making sure the alignment is correct. As you can see, his left hand will be holding the lower end of the hilt, and that look will be completed once the other half of his left hand is attached like so. So that then is Kamado Tanjiro assembled, the Bandai Kamado Tanjiro plastic model kit figurine, fully assembled with selected parts painted, panel line and dry brush with pastels, as well as painted with filter liquid. We'll now move on to have a detailed close-up 360 view, as well as an overall 360-degree view of Kamado Tanjiro. So let's go ahead and have a look at Tanjiro in a 360-degree view now. Let's begin this 360-degree view of Kamado Tanjiro by having a close-up view of his face, which is actually the key characteristic of this plastic model kit figurine, with specialized injection molding to make the eyes look very lifelike, with some added work on his hair as well as his face, which I've detailed earlier, all together, which makes Tanjiro look much better than a straight out-of-box build. Here then is a close-up view of Tanjiro's cloak as well as his brown clothing. So the cloak has been pre-painted in a black and green checkered pattern, and has been left as is, and no work has been done on it. So as you can see, it looks good as is. Meanwhile, the brown clothing, I did a little bit of highlight work with a lighter brown color, while his belt, I panel lined the grooves and painted the buckle in a metallic color. Meanwhile here, we are taking a closer look at his ankles and feet. Now the straps on his sandals I painted in red using Vallejo model color. The soles of his feet have been panel lined with Mr. Weathering color grey. And finally, for the wrappings around the ankle, the silver parts have been painted in a metallic color and the rest panel lined. Finally, what we have here is a full 360-degree rotating view of the Bandai Kamado Tanjiro plastic model kit figurine. It is a figurine that is based on a character from the Demon Slayer anime series. As a fan of the Demon Slayer series, I believe that Bandai has knocked it out of the park in terms of creating an excellent display piece that you can put together yourself and have it look good as a nearly straight out of the box build. I say nearly because while it looks good as a straight out of the box build, you would still have to do some minor paint work, some minor sticker detailing, as well as panel lining or pastel dry brushing in order to make the kit look as good as it can be and live up to its true potential. Personally, I would highly recommend this scale model kit, as but being a bit biased because I'm a huge fan of the Demon Slayer anime series. So I hope you have enjoyed this video on Kamado Tanjiro. If you have, please do like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And as always, thank you so much for watching and have a great day.